Hi students, hopefully you will be fine. Today we are going to discuss very important thing that is related to the compound interest. This concept is not only important for the calculation of the interest, but also that is very important for the calculation of the capital budgeting techniques. Like we have a net present value, we have a IRR, that is internal rate of return, and even in the profitability index, or even like a discounted payback period. So for all these calculation, even in the finance, there are so many calculations which are based on what? Based on the compound interest concept. And obviously this is the base point for the annuity also. So in this lecture, and obviously in the next lectures also, we are going to discuss some of the concept of the interest. We are starting with the compound interest. Let's say that you are in the year one and you have an amount of $1,000 with you, and currently the rate of interest is how much? That is 10%. All these values are used just to make the things very simple. So 1,000 you have invested. Now the time period may be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year. So we are assuming here the time period is 4 years. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the interest rate, that is 10%, and that is compounded annually. Means you are calculating the interest after 1 year. There are other options like a semi-annually, or it may be quarterly, it may be monthly, or even on the daily basis. But for the simplicity, we are just starting with the annual rate of interest. And the principal amount, or simply what we say the amount now which we have, or what we call as a present value, that is how much? That is 1,000. So for the first year, if we just see 1,000 invested, 10% rate of interest, so it is how much? 10% is 100. So at the end of the year, so this is the start when you have invested. After adding the 100 of the interest, that will be 1,100 at the end of the year. Now this amount will be again reinvested in the next year. So start of the second year, we have 1,100. Then the rate of interest is same, 10%, so it will be $110. So at the end of the year, it will be 1,210. Now, this amount again will be shifted to the third year, 1,210, and the interest rate is again same 10%, so it will be 121. So at the end of the year, it will be 1,331. So at the end of the 3 year, the which amount was invested of 1,000 is now compounded to 1,331. At the end of the third year, again reinvested. So at the start of the year, value is 1,331, reinvested for 1 year, interest we are getting 10%, 1,331. So at the end of the fourth year, that amount what we are getting with the compound interest of 10% will be 1,466,1. So what may be changed? The amount may be different. For example, you are not investing 1,000, you are investing 2,000, 1,650, any amount. So this amount will come here. Then again, the interest rate is not 10% always. It may be 5%, it may be 15%, 20%. So the interest rate will be changed. And again, the term for which you are investing that amount is not always a 4 year. So it may be 3 year, it may be 10 year, it may be 20 year, it may be even more than that. So for this purpose, if you see here, we have some variables we have to consider. First of all, the amount which you are investing is how much? The principal amount, or the present value, or simply the amount which you have now for the investment is $1,000. So this is the first amount. The second thing that is very important is the time period, that for how many year it is invested. So it is 4 year. And the third thing very important is the rate of interest, that is 10%, but this is 10% compounded annually. Now the present value here we have 1,000. So obviously values are different, and the different years, it may be the rate of interest is different, or maybe the number of years are different. So for this purpose, the simplicity purposes, we have a very simple formula here for the compound interest future value, that is called as the FV, or future value, or what we say the maturity value. So it will be future value is equal to present value multiplied by 1 plus I. So now I is the rate of interest. Some of the authors call it as the R also, and then we have the N, whole raised to power N. So it may be T in some of the books. So PV multiplied by 1 plus I whole raised to power N. Now PV is 1000, so the amount which is invested. The rate of interest is 10%. So 10% means what? That is 10 divided by 100. So if we simply say that the 10%, so 10% is 10 divided by 100, so it is 0.1. So it is 0.1 here, and whole raised to power 4 because the number of years are 4. So if we multiply these values, the amount we are getting will be the same as we are getting here. Just if the values are different, for example, you are not investing 1000, you are investing 5320. Now the number of years may be 5, 6, 7 years, and then the interest rate is not 10%, it may be 12%, 13%, 14.2%. So simply what we have to do, we have to change the values here. Now the present value may be any other value. For example, you are not investing 1000, you may be investing, let's say, like a 6000 you are investing. Then the rate of interest may be not a 10%, maybe 12%, 13%. So 1 plus 0.13, like a 13% is the rate of interest. And let's say it is not invested for 4 years, it may be invested for 6 years. So the formula is same. Simply what we have to do, we have to change the values, and then we will get the answer that after 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, what will be the net amount what you are getting at the end of the period or at the end of the maturity. So this formula can be used for the different values where the present value, the rate of interest, and the number of years or the time period is different, so it will be calculated automatically. So this is the basic concept of the compound interest, where the original amount is invested plus the interest you are earning is also reinvested. That's why it's called as the compound interest. So again, you are getting 100, 1100 is reinvested. So for 4 year, 5 year, 10 years, so the amount you are earning will be reinvested to get the compound. So it is the interest on interest. That's why it is called as the compound interest. I hope you have understood the concept, but still, if you have any doubt, if you have any question, you can ask me in the comments section. And in the next lectures, we will do that if the compounding is not annually, it may be semi-annually, monthly, daily, it may be any other variable. So we will do that thing. And also we will do that how to calculate the present value. If the future value is given, how to calculate the present value and what will be the benefit of that present value calculation.